On August 7th, 2022, the massive Inflation Reduction Act passed the United States Senate and is now waiting for the pen of Joe Biden to become law. It is a multi-billion-dollar bill that includes provisions on the environment, Internal Revenue Service, and aims to cut drug prices. You get a $7,500 tax credit if you buy a Tesla, but the Congressional Budget Office doesn't think the bill will actually stop inflation. But that's a topic for another video. There's one aspect of this bill that has really turned heads, and that is the $80 billion for the IRS, which has come at the same time as the IRS seems to be looking to hire agents willing to carry weapons and use deadly force. So what's going on? Is the IRS creating its own army to go after taxpayers? We'll explain it all in today's episode of Dirty Money. Over the past week, this job advert from the IRS's website has made the rounds on the internet. The most alarming part is the fact that applicants need to, quote, carry a firearm and be willing to use deadly force if necessary. This builds on claims that the IRS is hiring 87,000 new agents. Are these all going to be armed agents who could potentially break down your door in the middle of the night because you didn't report a $600 payment you received through Venmo? Well, let's look at what is actually going on. So first of all, the IRS is receiving $80 billion from the bill, which is bigger than the annual military budgets of all but 2 countries in the world. But that is over a period of 10 years, so not quite as outrageous as it initially sounds. The IRS is going on a hiring spree as outlined in this document written in May 2021. They will be hiring new specialized enforcement staff, with 5,000 new enforcement personnel hired right away. The document also states that the workforce should not grow more than 15% per year, which based on the current size of the workforce now, 78,000, would be 11,700 this year if they do the full 15%. Various politicians crunched the numbers and came up with the number of 87,000 over 10 years. I combed through the report and could not find the 87,000 number. However, an increase in the workforce of 15% would signal an increase of over 100,000 employees over a decade. But the IRS also expects around 50,000 current employees to retire in the next 5 years alone, so it could be a lot less than that number. But suppose we do get a few tens of thousands of new staff, or even the full 87,000 as quoted, after accounting for retirement, will these employees all be carrying guns and using deadly force? No, probably not. You see, the job ad that did the rounds on the internet was for the IRS Criminal Investigation Division, which currently has about 2,100 agents. It is for this division that the IRS buys ammo, which has also caused alarm, with Representative Matt Gaetz quoted in a Breitbart article on how the IRS spent $700,000 on bullets between March and June of 2022. Provided the IRS doesn't spend a considerable amount more this year, it is actually quite normal. The average annual spending on ammunition at the IRS is $675,000, with the highest in recent years being $1.1 million in 2011. But then crucially, is the Criminal Investigation Division being enlarged? How many of these 87,000 new personnel will work there? Well, yes, the Criminal Investigation Division is going to be expanded. The division currently has 2,100 agents and about 3,100 total staff. According to IRS Chief Jim Lee, the Criminal Investigation Division does hope to have about 4,200 employees by the year 2029, which would be a 33% increase. And some of these will be agents who carry firearms and can use deadly force. So it is true that a small army within the IRS is increasing in size, but not by that much, so you probably won't get your door knocked down in the middle of the night. However, we will potentially have somewhere up to 87,000 new personnel, which will include enforcement personnel to carry out audits. Will they be breathing down the necks of the average American? Well, maybe. You see, in the May 2021 report, the Treasury claims audit rates will not rise on those earning under $400,000 a year in income. But is this realistic? Some analysts think not.
You would go after where the tax fraud is and where people, if you file a tax return that says you only make $100,000, but you made up expenses of $300,000, you're not going to get audited, they're saying, even by all these new auditors. But if somebody makes $1 million with a W-2 paycheck and then does a bogus $20,000 charitable dog, you're going to go after that person? That doesn't make any sense.
The idea is that these new enforcement personnel will go where the money is in order to get the best bang for the buck for the taxpayer. since that is what this is all about, spending $80 billion in order to bring in even more revenue in lost taxes through audits, since the IRS believes there is $1 trillion in potential tax revenue out there uncollected every year. And that lost revenue is mostly at the middle and low end, since really rich people avoid taxes legally.
They work with lots of expensive tax lawyers who work around the Byzantine tax code that Congress stupidly created to legally get their taxes down to 10, 15. A lot of lower income business owners just make up stuff or lie or make mistakes, and they tend to get caught up in that because those are lies and those are not working around a system that's flawed to start with.
Look, here it is right from the horse's mouth.
He didn't pay any federal income tax. So
that makes
if
me
he's
smart.
paid,
Well, to be fair, it's probably Trump's lawyers who are the smart ones, although I guess he was smart to hire them, you can say that. But the point is, billionaires avoid tax legally. With most of them, there's nothing there to audit. The IRS won't put a cutoff at $400,000 a year and say, we can't audit those people, even if they're blatantly carrying out fraud. So while all the commotion about a private army of the IRS contains an element of truth but is greatly exaggerated, the truth is the agency is being enlarged massively, and even though they say they won't, the average American, especially small business owners, will probably face a higher chance of an audit and more scrutiny in general. But you know who really deserves an audit? The IRS itself. Guys, you've been watching Dirty Money. Please subscribe if you're new for more videos on the sinister side of finance. And check out my previous videos on inflation and Nancy Pelosi's insider trading on screen now. We'll see you next time.